Hello everybody, welcome back to Vet Med Corner. I'm Dr. M. Today we're going to be talking about canine weight loss. I hope that you will join me and that you'll learn something today. Let's get started. Before weight loss can even be considered, there's a few things that you need to do first. The very first thing is that you need to see your veterinarian. The reason for this is because they will need to do a health check to look for things like arthritis that might be causing your pet to be unable to exercise well, which can lead to them, slowing down, which is never a sign of aging. That's a myth. It always means that there's something underlying that's causing the pet to feel poorly. So we need to address any arthritis that might be there, start some pain management for it. The other thing that needs to be done is a blood work panel. This is especially to look for hypothyroidism, which is fairly common in dogs and can lead to a decreased metabolism and weight gain that can be impossible to move until the dog is on the proper medication and has their thyroid functioning well again. So the very first thing to do, see your veterinarian, get all of those things ticked off the list. Then the second thing to do is to watch my video on body condition scoring. I will link to it right here. The reason that we need this is because it will help us with assessing what type of nutrition your dog needs. We know from all of the research done in canine weight loss that if your dog is a body condition score of 7, 8, or 9, that they will need a prescription weight loss diet. These prescription diets really help to support the metabolism so that it doesn't slow down as we reduce calories. It also helps the dogs to lose fat and not muscle, which is very important. We do not want our dogs to lose muscle as they lose weight. We really need them to be losing the fat alone. And so these diets, the last thing that they do is really support satiety, or that feeling of being full, because if we are starting to feed our dogs less, sometimes if they are feeling hungry all the time, then they will be begging and they won't be happy, and that makes all the people unhappy, and then people end up feeding them more than they should be. So getting them on a diet that keeps them feeling full is very helpful for success. One other thing that I forgot to mention is that if we are not feeding our dog at least 75% of what the label on the bag is recommending for a dog the size of your dog, then we are risking not getting in enough micronutrients. The nutrition density from kibble and canned food from different companies, and even within the same company, can vary quite a bit. And if we aren't feeding over 75% of the recommended amount, then we risk them not getting enough of those micronutrients. That's mostly our vitamins and minerals. And this is a problem. And so if you are unable to feed over 75% of the recommended amount, then you will need to switch to a different diet option that is less calorie dense. This is one of those spots where the prescription weight loss diets also help to shine. They are less calorie dense so that we can make sure that the pet can get all the nutrients that they need while still feeling full. Now let's move on to some practical things to help your dog lose weight healthily. One thing that really needs to be considered are food puzzles. I will link down below to some resources that have some great food puzzles for dogs. Keep in mind it can take some time to find the level of difficulty that your dog finds challenging, but not so hard that they find it frustrating. We want this to be enrichment for your dog. We want them to enjoy the food puzzle and to not dislike it. The food puzzles also help them to slow down the rate of their eating, which also helps to support the satiety or feeling of fullness that the dog has. With food puzzles and all toys, really, it's important to remember that they can go stale over time. So we need to be rotating out which food puzzles your dog has access to every 2 to 3 weeks to help them stay fresh and interesting and exciting. The food puzzles also help your dog to move their body a little bit more, and that exercise is helpful with weight loss. That leads me to exercise in general. Of course, make sure that your veterinarian clears your dog for exercise before you start doing it. But the biggest thing for dogs that is helpful for their mental and physical health are what I call sniffaries. I mean, it's a term I've heard other people use too. I certainly didn't invent it. But this is where we go on ambling walks that allow the dog to take as much time as they need, smelling the ground, investigating, sniffing. I mean, this walk is for them. It's not for the human, it's for them. We also have some research about time spent sniffing, and we know that on the short, say 6-foot leads, that dogs just do not get the enrichment that they need. They do need one of those long lines. Absolutely do not use a retractable leash. Those are dangerous and awful, and they should never be sold. So get a biothane long line, or if you are able to find somewhere where a dog is allowed to be off leash. Of course, if your dog does not have an impeccable, perfect recall, they should not be off leash, and then you need to use that long line for their safety and for yours. The long line that I have for my dog, I think, is 25 feet long, and it's very light, and it is a fantastic way for my dog to be able to interact with her environment, smell everything, have some more time to stop where she wants, and I make sure that the walk is for her and that we go somewhere that she enjoys so that she can get the enrichment that she needs on a daily basis. The next thing to talk about is how we are measuring out the food portions that we are giving to our dogs. We know that weighing out the food is far more accurate and precise than measuring. So whether your dog is on canned or kibble, it's very important that you get a kitchen scale and that you weigh out the portions rather than measuring it. Your vet clinic can help you to figure out what size of portions your dog needs and how much to give for each meal. It's also important to remember that over 90% of the dog's daily caloric intake must be from their WSABA compliant kibble or canned food, and we have to make sure that all treats and toppers and supplement calories, that they are all less than 10% of the dog's daily caloric intake. If you are going over 10%, then you are unbalancing their diet, and over the long term this can have health consequences. And the other issue is that if dogs are getting that many treat calories, then they are usually being overfed, and that is a huge reason why dogs will be overweight or obese. Another thing to talk about is the expected rate of weight loss. We should be weighing our dogs every 3 to 4 weeks, and keep in mind that their frames are significantly smaller than human frames, so they're not going to be losing, like a human for healthy weight loss can usually lose around a pound a week. For dogs, it's not going to be near that much. We are expecting them to lose between 3 and 5% of their body weight in that month period, and it does take a little bit of patience here. Slow and steady wins the race. We do not want them to be losing weight too fast, or they will be losing that muscle mass instead of losing fat. So we need to aim for that 3 to 5%, and your vet clinic can help you with tracking weight and to make sure that your dog stays in that sweet spot of weight loss. If we're getting much lower than that, then that can be a bit frustrating for the people involved, and it is generally safe for dogs to lose between that 3 and 5% per month. Of course, if your dog has any nutrition or medical issues, it might require a bit slower, and some is better than none, but your vet clinic will give you specific recommendations for your specific dog. If you have any questions, please do comment them down below. I look forward to reading them. Please also like this video, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification if you want to be told every time that I upload a new video. Feel free to also comment if you have video ideas that you want me to cover, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. All right, we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.